Among the big changes to the contours of Karnataka's political landscape this election is the pre-poll alliance of convenience between old rivals BJP and JDS. But who will the alliance benefit more? How will the caste arithmetic and the redrawn political equations pan out in the Lok Sabha elections? Will the JDS be able to regain its lost ground in the old Mysore region, or will the Congress and the BJP make further inroads? Namaskara. Welcome to Decode Karnataka, a show where we give you the most incisive analysis on everything you need to know about the state. The pact between the BJP and the JDS was meant to mutually benefit both the parties by consolidating the Lingayat and the Vokkaliga vote banks, all to defeat a common political foe, the Congress. The stakes are high for the JDS this elections. The regional party is still stinging from its worst poll debacle in the assembly elections last year, after it won a mere 19 seats across the state. But psephologists say that the BJP joining hands with the JDS means that the saffron party believes that it is not as strong as it was in Karnataka in 2019. So, will this partnership be a win-win situation? To answer this and a lot more questions, we have with us Karnataka Bureau's Senior Deputy Editor Sharat Srivatsa, who also covers the JDS. Now, let me begin by asking you the most important question. Why this alliance? What was the need for the BJP and the JDS to enter this alliance in this election?
So for both BJP and JDS, it was important because each one had different issues before it, soon after the 2023 assembly elections. So for BJP, it realizes now that, without the old Mysore region, the strength in the old Mysore region, it cannot have its own government, it cannot form a government of its own. So for JDS, it had lost its voter base from about 18.5% in 2018 when it got about 37 seats. It dropped down to about 13.5%, and it could win only about 19 seats. So apart from that, with a resurgent Congress under the KPCC President DK Shivakumar, who is also a Vokkaliga, so JDS was under threat. JDS felt some of its MLAs were being poached. If that had happened, the survival of JDS itself would be at stake. So there were murmurs and there were moves of some of the JDS MLAs being approached by the Congress for migrating to the Congress.
Yeah.
And with Congress being in government, it was more easy to dangle a carrot of development, to get those MLAs to its party.
Yeah.
And there's a point in time, in fact, Mr. Kumaraswamy on multiple occasions has told the media that this alliance was meant to protect his party.
Now that this alliance is a done deal and the the campaigns are well underway, how much of an edge do you think it will give both these parties? Or do you think this sort of new friendship will be put to test?
See, so far as we know, the new friendship has worked well with the state level leaders. It has not trickled down to the grassroots. Some of the middle rank leaders are unhappy in both parties. Where BJP is strong, JDS leaders are unhappy, and where JDS is strong, BJP leaders are unhappy. And in many places, we also hear that these people are not fully engaged in the electioneering process. What I meant to say is, they are not participating in election, or even if they do participate, it is half-hearted. And if this is widespread, then it may not augur well for both the parties. So on paper, this alliance looks really good because BJP always wanted to gain some foothold in old Mysore region, and JDS wanted to keep its base intact, and BJP was trying to push through, and it had increased its numbers.
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons for JDS's losses also. In many places where victory margins were less, it was BJP that had eaten into their votes. So BJP has also grown in these places. So the challenge now is to bring that coordination between the leaders of the two parties on the ground.
So Sharad, picking off from these this internal rumblings that you were talking of at the grassroots level, can you elaborate on why these sort of anxieties are being faced, that sort of identity crisis are being faced among the workers,
Yeah.
and if it's sort of more widespread?
See, it's not widespread. There are places where JDS MLAs have lost the election in narrow, with a narrow margin. So they are worried, will this alliance be able to retain them as the candidate in the next election? Similarly, some of the JDS MLAs who have fought tooth and nail with the BJP on the ground and have won, those are BJP seats. They are also worried if they will be renominated by the party uh, in the coming assembly elections. Some of the former JDS MLAs, including Gauri Shankar in Tumkur, they have quit the party because they don't see a future
For
for
them.
themselves in this alliance. So Congress gave that space. So they have moved on to Congress. And in the middle level leadership, the problem is the coming Taluk Panchayat and ZP and Zilla Panchayat elections soon after this election. So they are worried, where will they be left with? Will they be left with their constituency at all, or will the party be able to nominate them? So far, both the parties have abstained from commenting on how both the parties will work for that election. Will there be a friendly fight where both parties have their candidates there, or will there be a seat sharing arrangement even there? And overall, within the JDS, some of the leaders believe that some of their sitting MLAs might lose their constituency in an alliance if for the next assembly election. Similarly, some of the BJP MLAs who won for the first time in JDS strongholds, they may also not be nominated.
Okay, okay. But what does this mean for the larger JDS leadership, in the sense that now in the old Mysore region, DKC is sort of pitting himself as the face of the Vokkaliga community, and in the event that this election the JDS does not perform well, and DKC is also possibly staking claim to the CM seat. How does that affect the JDS leadership, the main leadership?
See, ever since D.K. Shivakumar took over as the KPCC president, so the jostling for the Vokkaliga leadership began. Before 2023, some of the community leaders had actually dismissed him. But because the Congress performed very well in old Mysore region, in fact, JDS strength came down from 28 to 14, and all these seats went to Congress. So he is now being seen as a serious contender
Okay.
for the Vokkaliga leadership, and he's making his noise heard in the community that power to him means he could eventually he will be propelled into the chief minister's seat. So, which brings the question now: what happens to the JDS leadership? So, the JDS has had a voter base from the Vokkaliga bastions in Old Mysore region. So, in case the JDS does poorly in this election, what it would also mean is that some of the Vokkaliga leaders themselves could leave the party and go. And JDS will be under tremendous pressure from the BJP itself, because JDS brought on table the Vokkaliga voter base. If it does not perform well, it will be under pressure within the alliance, as well as slowly losing its identity as a Vokkaliga party. That is what it has been known for in the last 20 years. So ultimately, the party could party will be under threat of losing its existence too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one thing I wanted to ask you. So the JDS not being it's one of the prominent regional parties for Karnataka. Now the threat of existence to JDS, what does that mean augur for Karnataka, its regional interests? You think that could be hurt?
See, despite JDS being a stronger regional party in the early 2000s, when it really did well in 2004 assembly elections with about 58 seats, despite that, JDS has not been able to convert its voter base into a larger voice in Delhi. the highest ever tally that it sent as MPs to Lok Sabha was in 2009. It was only 3. And for an assembly election, their approximate voting percentage is about 20%, but it drops down to about 11% on an average for the Lok Sabha polls. So despite it being a strong contender in the old Mysore region in about 8 to 9 constituencies, it has not performed well in Lok Sabha elections even in the past.
Right.
So its worst performance was in 99 in the first election that it fought 25 years back when it drew a blank. And the best performance was in 2009 when it sent 3 of its candidates as MPs.
Okay.
So in this election, we can't expect it to reach its peak assembly performance, but it should retain its own voter base is what I feel.
So, I mean, JDS is no stranger to alliances. Like you said, there have been alliances in the past, once with the BJP in 2006, which was very short-lived and also ended on a bitter note. Then with the Congress in 2018, also around 14 months. And this time, they are also contesting from just 3 seats, right? So what is your prediction this time for the post-poll alliance? Will it happen? Will it not happen? What are you expecting?
See, when JDS entered into an alliance with Congress in 2019 for the Lok Sabha polls, it did not do well. Not only in terms of the number of seats that the alliance could win, but also in terms of JDS cadre. So the alliance brought together the Congress and JDS workers on the ground, and eventually it led to a lot of JDS workers migrating to the Congress, and mid-level leaders also went into Congress. In a post-poll scenario now, if JDS does not do well of the 3 seats that it has won, things may
It is contesting.
Yeah, things may repeat by itself. In some of its stronghold, the JDS workers could move to BJP wherever is possible, and they also can move back to move to Congress wherever they have space. This is in the 3 constituencies that they are fighting. In other constituencies where they are fighting but they are strong, the alliance could weaken them also. But in a scenario they do well and Mr. Kumaraswamy is given a good position in the union cabinet, the party believes that it can revive itself. Okay. Because on one hand it will protect them from poaching attempts by the Congress, on the other hand power gives the morale to the local grassroots workers. Okay. And which will help them perform well in the Taluk Panchayat and the Jilla Panchayat elections. See, post that there will be another set of elections for Legislative Council. We don't know how that alliance will pan out for that, because almost more than 10 seats will become vacant. So will the alliance work for that? Nobody is talking right now. And in a couple of places, Mr. Kumaraswamy himself has said, the alliance, the future of this alliance depends on the outcome of these polls too.
Right. Considering the initial pushback to the alliance, BJP and JDS have been prudent in their political outreach to placate the rebels and smooth out all the wrinkles in their cadre. Will the alliance's calculation work? All eyes are on the old Mysore region. For more such analysis, tune in every alternate Wednesday to Decode Karnataka with me, Nalme Nachia. For more such stories and videos, subscribe to The Hindu.